Hi, everybody, and welcome to San Jose Wine Talk. It is the 8th of May, and we are very happy to have you joining us. I am Sam, and
I'm Jose.
Yeah, hi, Kim. Welcome. It's great to have you back, and hopefully we'll get some other to join us. Tonight we have some really great stories lined up for you, and a great wine. It is an Aldi wine, an Aldi Merlot. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you the bottle. Now, Aldi has some really great wines, and Aldi will contract with certain vineyards throughout some of the states and create certain blends that are exclusive to the Aldi brand. A lot of different supermarkets will do this. Trader Joe's has some of their signature brands as well, and it's just something that's pretty normal. So if you do pop into Aldi, they do have some good wines here and there. Some of them are Aldi specific, some of them aren't. Trader Joe's is the same way. Publix has some good ones. But this one's called Earth Harvest. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Earth Harvest, it is an organic Merlot 2018 from California. And this is this Merlot. It should have some nice black cherry, plum, and chocolate flavors or notes that we will pick up and see. I say flavors as if they add them in, but they don't. And I have a dark sea salt chocolate that we're going to try and pair this with, and we'll discuss pairing with wines in just a little bit, chocolate at least. I want to give you just a little bit, or we want to give you a little bit of a taste of different things you can do with wine each of these episodes, and then we'll talk about our travel stories and or cool places we've been or that type of thing moving forward. So let's go ahead and pour the wine. Let me see your glass, Jose. Ooh. Let's take a look at what it looks like. We are using an aerator for this.
Tilt it.
Tilt it, aerate it. Now this is a medium-bodied wine. Medium to light body. So we'll go ahead and not very tannic forward. Or I guess on the end. How is it?
Actually really smooth.
Yeah.
Kind of like it.
Hey, Jenna, welcome. Yeah, you might as well have a glass with us, Jenna. So yeah. For those of you just joining us, we're going to quickly show you the bottle again, and then we're going to move into chocolate and pairing really quick. Like I said, it's an organic Earth Harvest Merlot from Aldi. So you can find good wines at a cheap price, and I think that's very important for you to know. Is within the wine industry, a lot of wineries, some wineries don't even have vineyards, so they have to buy their wine from other vineyards or other wineries, and then they take that wine, they finish it off at their facilities or bottle it somehow so that they can put their own label on it and call it their own. Now, these type of wines, as far as Aldi and stuff, get their wine from the same places. So you can get good wine for $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 a bottle.
Hey, cheap wine is good wine.
So, and especially with how far the science has come with winemaking, you really get a lot of it. A lot of good wine at a good price. So we've got this really nice Merlot. It's a deep, it's really good. It's a little fruity, so I don't know how this chocolate is. We also got some nice dark sea salt chocolate. And do you want to talk about chocolates and wines at all? Since I've been doing a lot of talking.
No, you good. You got this.
All right, so
I do all the drinking.
We're going to go with the sea salt because I really like to see how the salt within it. Sometimes it can interact with the wine itself, as far as the fats within the wine. I mean, within the chocolate, the fats within the chocolate, and then the alcohol within the wine sometimes can create really great notes in your mouth. And sea salt can add to that a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this little bit of sea salt chocolate here. If you're enjoying a glass, go ahead and give us a note. Let us know what you're drinking, and maybe we can suggest something you could potentially pair with that. The good thing is with these type of red wines, these you want a good dark chocolate. So I'm going to see.
I love chocolate.
It's not a good pair. You like it?
I would try it.
It's okay. The wine is a little bit sweeter, I think, than if it was a more tannic wine. I think that chocolate would. Kim's drinking a nice Canada. We've had a couple of those that were really good, especially when we were over in Barcelona. Had some good.
Kim is drinking
Kim, cheers to Kim. Hey.
Cheers.
All right, so now we've covered our wine. Hopefully you have your adult beverage of choice. Like I said, go ahead and leave us a comment if you haven't already to let us know what you're drinking, and we'll cheers to you. Tonight's episode, we're going to go ahead and discuss some really great historical places or places that have historical note that we've traveled to together. And the really great thing about our channel and about our relationship really is our paired desire to just want to explore. Meet new people, try new things, try new flavors as far as wines or foods, chocolates. When we go over and travel anywhere, we like to see what the favorite local spots are. If we know anybody in that area, we'd like to meet up with them and see if they can show us around, because if you know people within a country or that culture, they're going to be able to give you really, really great insight into that culture there. Jenna, ooh, that sounds good. Syrah blend.
Grenache Syrah blend.
Wow.
Delicious.
You'll have to send me the label of that. I'd be interested to try it, but it's so white.
It's red.
It was red. All right, so we're going to let Jose take it away with the first story for tonight. Where are you taking us, Jose?
Let's see. Let's go.
Stork Coast? Let's do that one first. Close to home?
Well, I was going to take it out and then bring it back home, but
You do what you got to do.
so one of my favorite places that I actually went to, I went with Sam. This is on our Mediterranean cruise that we went to. It was actually in Rome, which was the Colosseum. You can look at the Colosseum in pictures and you can be like, wow, that's amazing. But when you're really there and you see how big it is and how like perfect it still is, because it's still perfect and beautiful.
The restoration is really great.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like you think that you're like when I was there, I was on the like behind the gate, and I actually get to walk through it, and you just look up and it's just so high up, like everything is so tall.
So much stone. So much stone.
Stone and the detail and everything that they did. You can just, how did they do it? How did they actually get to do all of that stuff? And you can just imagine what the events that were held there were like. And the fact that they could bring in boats and fill that whole entire thing with water, and like that's just engineering that you're like, how did they think about all this stuff back then? But it was really neat. Get to learn a lot from what they were doing. I think the thing that always sits like in my brain is the restrooms that they had.
It is really amazing to think about its construction, Kim. Like,
yeah.
The Colosseum and Rome itself was really fascinating. Walking around Rome, we did a whirlwind tour of it, and you can check out our video on our Welcome to San Jose YouTube page. But I hope to pull some of that footage and hopefully put a little bit more videos together with some information on them as well. We're working on that. We've just got a lot of content we're filtering through right now. But you're right, the Colosseum is amazing. And the way it was built, the engineering at the time that it was built, that structure is a couple thousand years old.
I mean, I've seen shows where they're explaining how they put the lifts in there to bring the animals up, and everything had to be so perfect that there was just no room for error. Mm-hmm. And that to me is amazing. Just the fact that they can do that.
And some of the evidence they found of how these lifts were designed and built and everything, they've tried to duplicate them. And the engineering was very specific, mm-hmm. Which is incredibly fascinating. Yeah. So, and the other thing about the Colosseum that we've discussed is it's one of those few places, well, there's a lot of places like that, but it's one of those places that you see it in the photos, like Jose said, and you're like, oh, that's a cool place. It's one of those few places that is even more impressive in person, that it doesn't let you down. Because sometimes you look at pictures and you're like Leaning Tower of Pisa, for example, beautiful, gorgeous, pictures are gorgeous, it looks cool. You go to see it and you walk onto the complex and you're just like, oh, it really is leaning. All right, what else is there to do here? The Colosseum, I could walk around for hours, probably.
I mean, I could spend a whole entire day there.
Yeah.
Easily. Just make sure it's a little bit into the cooler time period when you go,
Yeah.
because it does get warm and there's very little shade.
None.
I mean, there is, but you're basically like in the crowds, and
Yeah.
it's just. But it is really beautiful, and you can literally just stand there and just think about every single thing and just learn, and it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, you're right. There are some places that are really impressive, as impressive as they look. One place I want to note from our Mediterranean cruise was in Barcelona, and it's a historical site in that it's been under construction for over 100 years. If you can guess it, then you know. It is La Sagrada Familia. It is the basilica. I think it's a basilica, and it is one of the most impressive structures I have ever been in. Like, it's one of the few. I've been in a lot of cathedrals in a lot of places. We even went to St. Patrick's in Rome.
Yeah.
And that one's grand and huge, but man, La Sagrada Familia is just one of those buildings that is so incredibly ginormous inside, and you have these huge just concrete stone pillars that reach to the sky. And it to me, we were outside, and the outside of it looks really cool, and we walked through those entrance doors, and I'm not a religious person. Spiritual, yes, but I walked in there, and it was awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
And so La Sagrada Familia, just a quick history on it. It was designed by Gaudi, and he, great artist and architect, designed some really great stuff all throughout Barcelona. That's kind of his signature city. His stuff is really on display there. Some beautiful buildings. You got Parkway there. But La Sagrada Familia, the way that he designed it with the arches and everything, it's just designed really cool. And they have a museum underneath the basilica itself, where it goes over how it was built and some of the history with it. And it's just an incredible structure. But we walked in there, and we posted the Barcelona video where we do a little bit, show it a little bit, and beautiful stained glass, the simplicity in the design of the architecture within it, as far as the stonework and all that other stuff, so simple on the inside, which is contrasting to the ornate, Bible depictions on the outside of the building. You go inside, and the focus is really on the color and the light coming through the stained glass windows, and it's just an ethereal experience that is beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think we actually said a single word for like 15-20 minutes to each other as we're just walking around inside. Like, we were just,
it was mesmerizing,
speechless. I mean,
yeah.
And there's a few places that actually does that with me, because usually I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But it was one of those places that you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time there. We spent at least, probably 3 hours or so.
Yeah. It was a while, yeah.
Walking around it, because we had our tour guide. We bought a tour pass. Europe in the summer is very busy. It may not be this summer or even next summer, but plan ahead. We went through a cruise line, so we booked the excursions through the cruise line, because then the ship doesn't leave us. It's a little bit more expensive that way, but we want to make sure we get back to that ship. Your next place?
Next place was St. Augustine.
Closer to home.
A little bit closer to home. I don't know if you guys know, but it's is it the oldest city?
Oldest city in the U.S.
In the U.S.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to still go there and see, everything that's still holding up, and like even the buildings are original buildings that are still standing that you can still walk into, which I love. And then it's actually one of like the most haunted cities as well, I think.
It's got a lot of ghost tours and stuff. We haven't done one of those. That's our goal. Next time we head up that way.
I don't know if I can do that. That would creep me out.
We did a 3-day weekend in St. Augustine the year before last year, and it was really great. And we've been meaning to go back up. We've been through there since then, but not necessarily spent time there.
Yeah.
And so we really want to go back up and do another weekend up there, because it's close. It's an hour drive away or so, and you can get really nice bed and breakfast and stay near the water if you need to. There's all this great stuff to go walk around and do, historical stuff. You've got the fort there, the pirate museum.
And you also have the lighthouse. So if you ever
Yes, the
go,
St.
make
Augustine
sure to stop by
Lighthouse.
the lighthouse.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Get to climb all the way to the top.
It's got a really beautiful staircase inside. I really like the staircase.
We actually
So-
just posted a picture a little bit ago
on Instagram.
on
with the
Instagram with the staircase behind us.
You want to see what it looks like? Go take a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, St. Augustine is an incredible city, and the history there. I think a lot of people, when they think about Florida, especially coming from other states. So I've lived in Utah, I've lived in Texas, and all that other stuff. Florida is not necessarily looked at as a historical state. You don't think of it as, I mean, it's one of the original 13 colonies, but you don't necessarily think of it as having as much history as like a Chicago or a New York. But there are some really incredible places in Florida, and we really like to get out and explore them more than anybody could imagine. Like we've got Tiffany glass art museums, and we've got, you know, the Cornell Museum, and we did a boat tour where we saw where Mr. Rogers was living while he went to college down at Rollins College, like just really random stuff. So I'm gonna just bring up one additional place before we leave you tonight, and just last November, and we just posted this video last week of our trip to Chichen Itza. We did another cruise, just pure luck. We got a really good deal on a cruise in November that just kind of popped up, so we booked it. Didn't necessarily have the money for it, but we did it anyways. And we are so happy that we took the initiative and did that in November, because we've had to cancel our trip to Salt Lake this summer. We were supposed to leave Wednesday, but such is the world right now. So we'll get that planned as soon as we're able to. And down the line, you'll see lots of cool videos in Salt Lake where I grew up.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Maybe later this year we'll make it to Puerto Rico, his hometown. That was our goal this year, is to do hometowns. But Chichen Itza, so we got on the cruise, we went down there, and it was literally, this whole cruise was just to go see Chichen Itza. It was a 4-day cruise. On Royal Caribbean, we took it down. We had the sea day, which we loved, 2 sea days, and then one day we just booked the excursion into Chichen Itza.
Yeah.
And the Mayan sites, because I've seen the Tulum ruins as well years ago. There's a lot of heritage there, and they go, even some of those sites predate even the Mayans, and they go all the way back to the Olmecs. And I'd love to see the sites in like Mexico City and stuff. But Chichen Itza was a really cool complex with a lot of different buildings in it, and there's a lot of history there that we don't even have, as far as archaeologists, the clear picture of what exactly happened there in certain aspects of it. And because the Mayan, at least the records that do survive, are a little bit later. So, and that was after they had been conquered by other people. So it's kind of interesting to think that some of these buildings were built even before that, and then reincorporated into some of these other traditions as these cultures evolved alongside each other or conquered each other. But the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico has a lot of really great history. You've got the history, the underground rivers as well, the cenotes and all that other stuff. They have tours all throughout there. And we'd love to make it back down there. Mexico's got some really beautiful landscapes and scenery. And a lot of people think of Mexico and they think of like Cancun, Cozumel, Spring Break, or
all the touristy places.
All the touristy places. But I worked on a cruise ship for a year, and we would port in Cozumel, but that enabled me to do a couple excursions into the mainland. We lived in Texas when I was growing up for a while, just 2 hours from the border. So we would drive down and cross the border probably once a month at least, almost. We were down in Mexico pretty often, just off over the border. But yeah, the history down there, the Chichen Itza site, the pyramid itself was really cool. I wish we could still climb up, but you can't climb up the stairs anymore. Maybe one day we'll be able to align it with the equinox or whatnot, so that we can see the snake on the stairs, because the shadow from the sun creates the snake god. There's just a lot of really cool history down there, and I think the important thing when you're booking or traveling or whatever, history is what connects us to our past as far as finding out who we are now, where we've been. And I love history. I love finding the stories that the people of these places have, and I think that's what we love about it. He likes to capture the photos and tell stories through photography. We edit the videos together, and we try to tell stories through that. And then I look at these places, and I love the history and whatnot, and then I take concepts of those and I write them into my stories. So
I think it's one of those things that you, like, the way I look at it, I always look at how they were doing things and how much we've progressed to how we are today and what changes have we done. And it really, when you look at it, like especially in Rome, or like parts of Italy, we really haven't changed much. It's been pretty much the same thing, but it's still beautiful to see all those things, and knowing that we're all still, the human race is still kind of still going.
Some of the places we've talked about, the Colosseum, La Sagrada Familia, the Chichen Itza, and even some of the sites in St. Augustine. You have this town that was settled by people that had no clue what to do on this new land. Well, not new land, but this new to them land. But anyway, so I think it's important. The one takeaway from this episode is A, wine is good, and B,
chocolate is good.
Chocolate is good, and C, try to find a little bit of history when you travel, just so that you can find a connection to the culture that currently is there. Because if you see the history, then you can see why some of their practices and stuff are in place, why the society functions as it does. And when you get a little bit of that history, you can fully enjoy that culture and for what it is, for what it has been, how it developed. And then the human element of that is just incredible. So thank you so much for watching us tonight. And again, we'll show the wine bottle one more time before we go. Again, from Aldi. It's an organic wine. It's light-bodied or medium to light-bodied. Not very, so it's a little bit more fruit-forward. Very light. If you like really tannic wines, this may not be for you, but it is very enjoyable. We like variety, so it works for us. But
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Please, if you haven't already, go ahead and go to Welcome to San Jose on YouTube, subscribe, and check out our videos. We really want to continue producing these things for you, and your support is incredibly important to that process. And we want to thank you for everyone that's been supporting us thus far. We have more videos coming out from our cruise in November that we just talked about. So subscribe. I have one to finish up that I should get out in the next few days, and then the second half of that later next week, and then a couple of other ones from that. And then we've got some more stuff coming up, and yeah, that's it. It's exciting. The world's a crazy place, but we can make it exciting if we want to. So let's do that. Cool.
All right.
Thank you all. You have an amazing night. We're welcome to San Jose, and
good night.
Night.
Cheers.